here's what I want to ask you. Do you feel that hair loss makes you angry, bitter, desperate, obsessed? Do you feel that way about yourself? Because what I am wanting to recognize is I'm always trying to relate to the people watching my videos. And please don't think that I think that you're all the same. Absolutely I don't. I think you're one of three categories, and I've been very vocal about that. I think you're either here for me to talk about hair products, or you're here for me to talk about all the technical measures of Norwoods and haircuts and stuff like that, or you're here for the psychology. I think for the most part, each one of you, there's nearly 5,000 of you, I think each one of you mainly falls into one of those categories. So when I make a video that speaks your language, you're all in. And when I do one that's not, you often get confused by it or tell me that you don't like it or whatever. But I've got 3 different groups of people telling me that they don't like certain videos because it's not for them, it was for the other group. So I do feel it's important for you to kind of recognize where you are. But let's talk about this concept of being angry, bitter, desperate, obsessed as far as hair loss goes. Because a lot of people who watch my videos, I would definitely see, just by reading the comments, it appears they're in that situation. So I think it's important, if that is you, that you recognize that. Maybe that's something you haven't done yet. I mean, even for me, I recently admitted that to some degree I am bothered by my diffuse thinning. But then there's a whole range of being bothered. There's this whole spectrum of hair loss in so many ways, as far as how certain people are affected by it more than others. That you could become angry, bitter, desperate, or obsessed over this thing. So I think it's important, step one, to acknowledge that, to acknowledge how you feel. Hey, you know what, Nick? I feel angry. I feel angry, Nick. I'm 19, I'm Norwood 4. Look at you, look how much hair you have. I don't like it that you get to live that life and make these videos about hair loss. I don't like that. Why am I even watching your videos, Nick? I should turn this off right now. But yet I don't. I'm still watching you and listening to you. I think it's important to acknowledge, if you're angry about this, why me? And then that turns into bitterness. Of course, that's a dark path now. And then that leads to desperation, to obsession. And see, that's the problem, is that when you are those things, especially when you become desperate, then you get to where it's hard to hear the truth. It becomes easy to listen to the people who aren't there to truly help you. They're just there to maybe help themselves based on that. Okay? So, and it's challenging for me because there's a demand of a lot of people watching my videos. They say, Nick, I'm only 16. Tell me how to stop this. Nick, please make more videos about products that will save my hair. And to cater to them, I do. I make those videos because they want me to do that. But at the same time, and I gotta let you be the judge, but have you ever thought about that? That the more desperate you are, the more likely you are to believe that money, buying something, can save you when you're desperate. And you're less likely to believe that you can overcome this psychologically. Because the people who seem to be angry, bitter, desperate, and obsessed are the same people who tell me they hate my psychology videos, but they just want more product videos. Because they believe that I'm lying and feeding them BS when I tell them that you can actually choose to become confident and you can fake it till you make it. They're like, that's all garbage. Quit telling lies, Nick. So how do you feel about yourself? Do you feel that you're in the category of angry, bitter, desperate, obsessed with hair loss? Do you feel, because that's a dangerous place to be, because then you can start perceiving things one way as reality when they're not. And it goes back to what I say, because if you're in the category of angry, bitter, desperate, obsessed, you do realize that that whole motto that I created, that anything you believe about hair loss is true in your own mind, I created that because of you, because you needed it, because I knew that you had identity protective cognition, and that all this good psychology I was saying that could actually help you, you're closed-minded to it. You're not going to listen to me. So finally I said, okay, fine. Believe that no one's going to have children with you and no one will marry you. If that's what you believe, believe it. If you have to believe that that you need to have a full head of hair until you die at age 80, then believe it. Because I'm not here to convince people against their will. I do have my own vision of what I think is the best way. But some people can never get there because they can't get past where they're at right now. And maybe you have been dealt the shortest straw. But to stay in that category of angry, bitter, desperate, obsessed, that's where you're going to be no matter what happens with your hair, no matter where you are in life, if you stay there. And that's not where I am. I'm like, I can't even say I'm here. Instead I'm like over here and I'm talking over here. So of course you're not going to be able to understand that language because that's not where you are. My point is this: if you're in that category, the first step is to acknowledge it. And I get some very negative, toxic comments on a daily basis that people throw at me. Just dripping in anger, bitterness, desperation, and obsession. And they cast that on me. And actually when I think about it, I think that that's a healthy thing for them to do. At least they're recognizing how they feel. But it's not the place that you need to stay. I think the biggest challenge for somebody in that situation is to realize I can talk about hair loss products all day long and give you a hope that it might work, and maybe it will as I play show and tell with products, as that part of my audience has demanded that I do. And so I'm doing it to cater to them, and those videos are very popular. But my challenge is if you're in the category of angry, bitter, desperate, obsessed, my challenge, I think your greatest challenge, is to watch the hair loss psychology videos like this one and to be able to not react negatively to it. But I think someone in that category, the easiest thing to do is to turn on me and say, shut up and take my money, Nick. Tell me about another product that's gonna save me. What do you think? Do you think that you're in that category? Angry, bitter, desperate, obsessed. Is that you? Right here in the comments.